Business Hall of Fame was established in 2002 to honor alumni with significant achievements in business. It is the intent that this Hall of Fame gives recognition and honor to those who excel in this field. And my name is Kurt Kaiser. I'm Business Division Chair here at Southwestern College, and I'm so pleased you could join us today. I would like to call your attention to the beautiful glass creations on the table behind me. These one-of-a-kind awards will be given annually to Business Hall of Fame inductees. They are handcrafted by Mr. Scott Hartley, class of '97, a Southwestern science major who went on to use his artistic talents and his knowledge of science to become a master glassblower. Scott is also a 2016 inductee of the SC Fine Arts Hall of Fame. We are fortunate to be able to give these unique gifts to our inductees to permanently remind them of their place in our hall. Before we begin, we'd like to recognize all previous Hall of Fame inductees or spouses of inductees who are here today. Would any previous inductees please stand? There you go. Well, before we get to the main event and move on to the inductees, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the business division these days. And first, I'd like to ask Debbie McAllister, director of our MBA program, to come up and talk to you a little bit about the MBA program.
Hello, everyone. I want to share just a little bit about the MBA program. I don't want to take a lot of time here, but when the first year I was here, Arthur Smith at that time was the director for the MBA program with professional studies. So Arthur and I got together and we updated the curriculum to add a focus on globalization. So I'm sure all of you are aware that businesses these days are moving more and more toward being globalized. A result of that is that the work environment is becoming more culturally diverse. And so we felt like it was important for us to update our program. Employers are looking for MBA students who have that education and experience with the multicultural environment. So I'm happy to say today, I'm finishing my third year, today the MBA program has students from Poland, Argentina, the UK, Africa, and China. And I have two MBA students here today who would like to just briefly share with you their experience and their thoughts and their feelings about the MBA program. Martina from Poland and Hernan from Argentina. And Martina, I would say females first, but I know it's going to take you a bit to get up here. So otherwise, I would say, do you want to try to make it up here? Or take your time and Hernan can go first? Okay. All right, Hernan.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hernan Heidem. I'm from Argentina. I'm 27 years old. I'm the men's and women's assistant coach for tennis. So it's been a great experience to me to be a part of Southwestern, and I'm just going to give you my speech for today. Dear Southwestern community, Board of Trustees, business professors, friends, and family. This past year has been a pleasure and an honor to work for Southwestern and being able to complete half of my MBA at this great institution. I truly appreciate that opportunity that the athletics department and the Builder family has given to me. Being an international student in the US is not an easy task. I'm coming from Argentina, and this is my first year at Southwestern College. I'm coaching tennis, the sport that brought me into the United States, and also following my dream to earn an MBA. Working collaboratively with students from diverse cultural and educational backgrounds has allowed me to expand my perspective and vision of how business world works. I genuinely believe that I can apply my leadership skills learned back home, and the MBA will help me to develop, strength, and influence my teammates and my classmates, shaping these skills. Being away from home during my college years and missing on important moments has made me realize how much strength and drive I have. Southwestern has made an impact on me, providing me the opportunity to work in school, and it's tremendously helping me to take the next long-term decision, giving me the tools for a career change. The MBA program has meant a lot to me. A very wise professor during my first class back in August told me, "Where are you now? And where you want to be at the end of this race?" And that simple example has been impacting my experience at Southwestern College. The school has given me a detailed plan and an ultimate goal. Now, it is up to me to take the challenge and complete it. A lot of times, I ask myself, what am I doing here? And I feel being an international student in a different culture has helped me to learn, to seek further knowledge, not only about business, but also on how to communicate better, to work for a team, and to develop, ourselves as individuals. I think all of us in the MBA program at Southwestern are trying to make a better future for ourselves, find new ways, figure things out by ourselves, and most important, to grow as a person. The world needs character and better people around with values and passion. Sometimes we might fail, but I have extremely confidence that with trust, humility, and support, we will find at Southwestern College the change that we want to see in the world. Thank you to Debbie McAllister for giving me the opportunity of speaking in front of you guys. It has been an honor to me. Have a wonderful day.
Yep, I made it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martina Głuchowicz, and I'm a current MBA student here. I would like to begin by thanking you all for being here, Board of Trustees, the President, Provost, and all the incredible business alumni, Eric Kurtz, Brian Pettey, and Dennis Hodges. We are very happy to have you here. You know, when I heard about Hall of Fame luncheon, I immediately asked Professor Debbie if I can be one of the speakers here. And guess what she said? Good luck, break a leg. And look at me right now. Look at me right now. Now, I would like to share some of my personal experience as an international student in the MBA program. MBA is a valued and increasingly appreciated program, not only in US, but all around the world. It's a study for a business elite. It's for those who want to be leaders, achieve a spectacular and professional success. When I came here a year ago, I had a different expectations of what I'm going to gain after completing this program. Mostly, I could not wait to learn about this one key element which makes business development better, easier and faster. And moreover, will make my salary 10 times higher than the industry average, of course. I thought that all I need to figure it out is just a capital, logistic, branding, marketing, and I will be all set. Quickly, I realized that there is no golden recipe and nothing comes that easy. There is a lot of hard work that has to be done on a social aspect of the business activity. Many of you will probably agree with me that it is a challenge to connect people and get all those people to recognize the value in each one of them and in you. MBA graduates must find themselves in an international environment and work effectively in a team, becoming a valued experts. I love that I am able to work with Chinese, Argentinian, British, American, and African students. I think being surrounded by people all around the world with a different culture, different background, and different language teaches us tolerance for others, as well as deepens our knowledge. Also, differences in religion teach us the acceptance of the pluralism and diversity of the worldview beliefs. MBA program showed us that no matter where we are in the world, no matter what business are we in, and no matter who are we working with, in addition to purely financial factors, the atmosphere in the workplace, managerial competence, honesty, mutual respect, and above all, the sense of accomplishment are the values which will build any business for years and years. I would like to finish with Albert Einstein's quote, which I heard from my favorite professor, Debbie. Try to not become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And now I'd like to call up the Inductees faculty advisors and Inductees team up to tell you what they've been up to.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Patrick Lee. I'm the assistant professor of accounting here at Southwestern College. And for some of you, welcome back to Southwestern. And for those that have never been on our campus, we welcome you and welcome you to a very nice day and to honor some great individuals in our Business Hall of Fame. As Kurt has shared with you, I am the Inductees advisor, and Inductees is one of our organizations on campus that takes along a lot of what we see out in the world today and bring it back into our classrooms. And so what our Inductees team does is they find opportunities in the community to invoke change, but not just change. They invoke change and find an entrepreneurial way of doing that. And so one of the cool things about Inductees is watching these young folks take what they've learned in the classroom and implement it in their community by starting businesses, by helping business owners achieve more revenues, growth in their companies. And I can tell you that at the end of the day, they take all of those projects and they put it into a 17-minute presentation that they take on the road and compete nationally throughout the United States. In these presentations, they sit amongst business professionals like you, and they give their results of how well they did in the past year against other teams throughout the nation, trying to vie for a spot in national exposition here in the next month. And as we get to this place, just 2 weeks ago, our team secured a spot in National Expo, beating out a ton of teams. And so I have two people here that I'd like to introduce and have them just talk about their experiences very quickly, so that you get to know how much of an impact something like Inductees and our community does for our students here. And so to my left, your guys' right, is Jennifer Myers. Jennifer Myers is a senior psychology student. She has been with Inductees ever since it started 3 years ago, and she is our president, and she's also part of our presenting team that advanced us to nationals here in the next month. And then next to her is Lizzie Walls. Lizzie Walls is a junior accounting major. Lizzie has been in Inductees ever since she stepped on campus a year and a half ago as a softball player. There we go. So.
Hi. So as Patrick said, I am our Inductees president. Also, my minor's in business, so I do know a little bit. But the reason I got into Inductees was I was in Patrick's accounting class, and I was like, I'm going to get an A, and I'm going to get into Inductees. That doesn't work all the time. So, but anyway, so I didn't really know when I started Inductees what it was going to be and how much it would actually make an impact, going forward. And now that I'm graduating, it has helped me so much because being able to reach out to people, you go and there's these large conferences and you have a career fair and you walk in there and it's just, different companies and the CEOs, they're right there. They're in your face and it's the most overwhelming experience at first, and then you kind of get used to it. And I think just what I've loved so much from it is that I'm able to walk up to someone, shake their hand, and have confidence in knowing who I am and tell them everything, a little rundown of myself. And so I really enjoyed that. And it's just helped me so far in interviewing processes and things like that. I've also loved that this year I was on the presenting team, and that was kind of a nerve-wracking experience at first, but I just, I think that's something, everybody should have to go through, is put themselves in that position of, learning something by heart, doing it, and going out there and giving it your all. And so that's kind of my thing with Inductees. So.
I'm Lizzie Walls. This is only my second year in Inductees. My first year of actually knowing what we're actually doing. Takes a while to figure out what you're doing, but I'm an accounting major, so I'm not really one to put myself out there and forth. I'm secretary of Inductees, and I just really enjoy doing the background work, helping with the script for our presenting team, helping with all of our projects. The most enjoying part of Inductees, I think, is how our team uses our strategies to help community. A lot of these D1 universities like to go overseas, which is great, but I just really enjoy getting to meet people in the community, business owners, and just try and help implement plans that just help everyone that's around us, and I just really enjoy it, and yeah, so, yeah. Sorry.
Well, again, to those honorees, we congratulate you on your membership into the Hall of Fame, and we hope you have a great afternoon.
Well, needless to say, we're extremely proud of everything that's going on in the business division, and our fine faculty and the different programs and the programming pieces. And I better stop there, because once I start bragging on them, I won't stop. So we'll move on to the main event now. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the 2017 inductees to the Southwestern College Business Hall of Fame. Our first inductee, Dennis Hodges, class of '81, is the founder, CEO of Creatalist, a global strategy boutique that teaches executives, educators, students, and entrepreneurs how to unlock creativity and drive innovation. Hodges started with a self-designed degree in aesthetics and humanities that taught him to see relationships and connections among seemingly dissimilar items. This set the course for his life's work, which combines photography, creativity, and strategy. Living for 14 years in Hungary taught him to look at issues from multiple perspectives and appreciate the local nuances that shape worldviews. He has worked on 5 continents, including speaking at TEDx Danubia. His work has been shown globally and is in the permanent collection of museums and private collections. Dennis also launched the lifestyle brand Dream, Believe, Do, and hosts its podcast. Dennis and President Andrews, would you please come forward?
Well, President Andrews and Dr. Kaiser and members of the selection committee and people that are here, thank you so much for this award. When I first got the phone call, I was taken aback a bit. And then I realized how poetic this award really is, because I was not a business major here at Southwestern College. In fact, I escaped from here having only taken 1 class in marketing. I'll explain how prophetic that was at the very end. When I first arrived here, the bottom of the steps, 77 steps, I didn't know which direction I was going, except of course up the stairs like we did 1,000 times, right? But I had just finished a year of traveling with a singing group up with people between high school and college. And the last 6 weeks of my time were spent in what was then communist Poland. And you talk about not being in Kansas anymore. It was quite an eye-opening experience. And so I arrived here about 2 weeks, I came back to the States about 2 weeks before classes started. I spent my first semester really contemplating and reflecting on my experiences. You know, the first time you travel abroad, it changes your perspective on life and the world permanently and for the better. I started out as a music major here, and I don't know what I was thinking until I found out that to be a music major, you have to teach or you have to be good enough to go pro. And I wasn't interested in either one of those. I don't know what I was. I've been naive, I guess. But then and I kind of bounced around through a couple of the disciplines for a while, and I was really struggling. And enter Troy Boucher, who was my advisor, a mentor, and a dear friend. And I'm thrilled to have Troy with us here today because he set me on the path that brought us here. Troy, thank you. Troy was helping me to find my corner of the sky, and he taught me that one size does not fit all. My degree is a PhD, a Bachelor of Philosophy in Aesthetics and Humanities. Most of you have never heard of this degree, and this is a self-directed degree program that Southwestern offers, where the students write their philosophy of education, then they take and present that to the academic committee, defend it to the academic committee. Once it's approved, that becomes your course of study for the duration of your time at Southwestern. To date, only 26 people have ever achieved this degree, and it's clear that the road less taken. It's just not for everybody. It's a very different experience. But there were others here. Troy was a huge influence on me. There are a couple others I want to mention here at Southwestern. Alfredo Rodriguez was teaching Spanish when I arrived here. And Alfredo, in a prior life, was a Supreme Court justice under Fidel Castro until he fell out of favor with Castro. It's a true story. I mean, and the guy ended up here at Southwestern. Well, Alfredo, the first day of class, he walked in, and for the 45 of the first 50 minutes, he spoke Spanish to us nonstop. And we sat there like deer in the headlights. It's like, holy cow. And he stopped, he said, "This is how you learn a language," and he's exactly right. He never gave tests, never used a textbook. And the way he would judge students was based on how you started the class and how you finished the class, and how you went about how much you grew in that time you were with him. He gave 3 grades. He gave an A for a solid effort, a B for less than solid effort, and an F if you didn't do anything. I don't think he ever gave an F. I think most students self-selected and left before that because either you were passionate or you got out with Alfredo. He would turn to students at any point in time and hand you the chalk and say, "Here, teach." And so you're called to lead from where you stood at that moment, stand in front of the class and do something in front and teach your students and so forth. He taught me that success is not measured by grades or numbers or papers on the wall, but success is measured by the effort you put forth, your conviction, and your growth that happens with that. A different person is Howard Stevens, and I bet 95% of the students have no idea who Howard Stevens was. He was a staff member here, a curmudgeonly old fart that had a closet for an office up in Christie, and he was. I mean, and I love this man dearly. But Howard and I connected. He handled the publications and graphics works for the college and helped put those together. Howard and I connected because of our deep love and passion for photography. And he taught me that wisdom can come from the most unexpected places if you're just open to the possibilities and listen and engage with other people. Between those professors and some others and the foundation I have at Southwestern, it laid the foundation for my life as I moved forward. Now, in PhD, Bachelor of Philosophy in Aesthetics and Humanities, you can't get more liberal arts than that. And the one question humanities graduates need to know upon graduation? Do you want fries with that burger? Right? It's so true. Now, there's someone else I need to call out, is my father. Dad supported me both, not just emotionally, but also financially to come into college. And at graduation, he turned to me and said, "So, what are you trained to do?" I told him, I said, "Honestly, absolutely nothing." He said, "What did you learn?" I said, "I learned how to think. I learned how to see how things are connected and how they relate to one another and the interactions that happen as a result of that." He said, "Great." He said, "Do something with that education." And I did. Now, I mentioned I had that marketing class, the first class I took. After college, I decided to head out to Colorado and live in Denver. I beat the streets for 3 months looking for a job, finally got a job interview. Got called back for a second interview, and the second interview was a stress test. The entire marketing department of this company was sitting in a room. I was at the front with a whiteboard, and they're throwing scenarios at me that I had to answer and come up with solutions to the problems. And thank God for that marketing class and the training of learning how to think and connect the dots here from Southwestern, because I got the job as a result. I believe everything that you've done to this point in your life prepares you for what comes next, right? Look, I'm a digital immigrant. I remember days before connected devices, before the internet, before computers, before cell phones, right? A lot of us in the room know this, but anybody who's under the age of about 25 are digital natives, and you don't know anything except connected ubiquity. And that's okay, because we live in an amazing time with unprecedented access. I did say unprecedented. Unprecedented access to knowledge and information. But I'm seeing some trends right now in this area that concern me a bit because of the digital connectivity. We're relying more on superficial digital relationships instead of flesh and blood connections with people. There's FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? Try this sometime. I do this all the time. You're talking to a group of people at a cocktail party or whatever, just reach in your pocket, pull your phone out, take a peek at it, and put it back. Don't even really look at it, just do that. I kid you not, within 10 seconds, everybody will pull their phones out and look at it because they're missing out on something. Okay, we have this, there's no patience in it. We want the answers right now. We want the answer, period, and be done with it. And we're constantly, this instant access, and we're looking for answers without proof of context, if it makes sense or not. I'd like to reference our dear President Abraham Lincoln, who said, "You can't believe everything you read on the internet." Okay? This access we have comes with responsibility. I remember a class, I think Dan Daniels taught it actually. We were studying Rolf Hochhuth's The Deputy. And it was basically a play about Pope Pius XII, that he turned a blind eye knowingly to the Holocaust. Okay, that was the context of the play. We spent hours in this library doing research because each of us was tasked with coming up with what really happened, what was our point of view, what was our thesis. And some defended the Pope, some attacked the Pope. And we sat down in class and debated these topics with the evidence we had available to us. There was a conversation that happened. And that's what we need more of today, is conversations. Not just accepting the right or the left or the yes or the no, but to have more conversations that connect with things that are going on. I look at education today. We just came out of 15 years, almost a generation of No Child Left Behind. And I don't fault the teachers. They were forced to teach this thing and teach kids how to take tests. But taking tests is one of the worst bits of training we ever could have had. Instead of teaching children how to think and how to connect the dots and how to make sense of the context of what's going on around us, that's where a liberal arts college comes into place. That's where liberal arts training comes into place, is to expose you to these different aspects and different elements. We need to be learning for the sake of learning instead of learning to get a job, because you'll find a job, right? If you think about the generations before us, they talked about the Great Depression. They talked about World War I and World War II and how it affected them from a economic perspective and a lifestyle perspective. Look, in my adult life, I've weathered 3 major market corrections, 1986, 2000, 2008. And each of those corrections had a material effect on me. In some cases, it changed my entire trajectory from a career perspective. Other cases impacted me dramatically in a financial perspective. Had I been taught just how to answer questions and check boxes on a test, I would not be able to pivot and change my life and make adjustments as I go along in my career. So thank God that's the liberal arts education that comes back into training there. You take this time at Southwestern and the classes I took and the disciplines I studied, combine it with my lifelong love of art and engagement with art, and you have a picture of how Southwestern gave me that foundation for how I move forward. Today, my life is a mashup. You kind of heard I won't go through the whole litany of things I do, but my life is a mashup of strategy work. I do creative thinking through lectures and workshops. My fine art photography continues to grow, and I'm doing this podcast telling people stories about their dreams and how they pursued them and so forth. All of these reflect on my time at Southwestern. Time spent having coffee with my professors in the teacher's lounge in the bottom of Christie, right? We used to hang out there all the time. Time spent in rehearsals of the a cappella choir, time spent in rehearsals in theater, time spent in this library, endless hours. In fact, that window right up there was my favorite place to sit. When I write my papers, there's a great little desk up there, some great light that filtered in. I wrote a lot of papers up there and so forth. There's time also just spent thinking about and reflecting on what I'm learning and what does it mean and where's it taking me career-wise. As a result, this award to me is poetic, and it is a testament to the education I got at Southwestern. With the magical things in my life that I do and the career that I have, like, I'm not a businessman. I am a businessman. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dennis, and congratulations. Our next inductee, Eric Kurtz, class of '92, is CEO and president of Union State Bank, the culmination of a career that began immediately after graduation. Kurtz progressed from night processor to senior vice president of Pioneer Bank and Trust in Ponca City before the bank was acquired in 2006. During his tenure, the group became one of only 3 Oklahoma banks with preferred lender program status with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Following acquisition by RCB Bank, Kurtz became Senior Vice President of Commercial Lending. In 2009, he joined Union State Bank. He became president of the bank in 2011, rising to CEO and president in 2014. During his tenure, the bank has expanded into Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and Wichita, and acquired Reliance Bank, and has been recognized as one of the healthiest banks in the nation. Eric and President Andrews, please come forward.
Well, I want to thank President Andrews and the committee as well, so it's quite an honor for me. I do have one proclamation, though. Even though Dennis and Brian have done great things, I do think I've changed the least since graduation of college, as you all can see up there. I had quite a different path in college. You know, Christy and I were married in college, you know, halfway through my sophomore year. And to me, college was just a tremendous amount of work. It's what I remember about it, you know, going to Mr. Barnes' classes up at business at the time was in Christy Hall. Christy was attending Southwestern College on a volleyball scholarship. I think I was attending college on a We Feel Sorry for You scholarship. And so I was working full-time, 40 hours a week, going to school 15 to 18 hours a week. Working at a grocery store, working Sunday nights, working Wednesday nights, going to school the next morning, probably half of the time disheveled. And Christy was going to school full time. We had Kasia after our sophomore year, going into my her senior year. So for us, I did not get involved in school. You know, I was attending classes, going to school 15 hours a week, did very well. But certainly was not part of the student organization. So it was a different path for us. But in looking at that and in looking back, you know, what I remember about my education at Southwestern was that, you know, every one of my instructors and professors just cared. You know, we're in classes oftentimes of 4 to 10. You know, they knew you by name, they knew who you were. And that's what I remember, just that caring atmosphere, and quite frankly, that's what brought me to Southwestern College. Had other options, could have done a lot of different things, but this is what mattered to us. You know, I was a student that never missed a class. I was never late. You know, just my professors knew my circumstance. You know, we would, Christy and I bought a 1977 Chevy Chevette, and I think there's still an oil slick up there on Christy, I'm sure, by all the oil that it drained out of it or burned off. But nevertheless, we made it and made it through. But I tell you, not being involved, you know, in the school as much as I want, I got through, but certainly not to the extent and not as involved as I wanted to do. Something that always, you know, kind of struggled with that a little bit. But I tell you, at the business classes, what I do remember, there are certain points in your career where you just remember stuff. I mean, something that happens. I think everybody who's been in business or any type of industry just remembers that. And And for me, it was on Christie Hall, and I don't remember the floor, second or third floor, but I was taking a finance course at the time, and to me, I just remembered numbers just saying. I mean, they just gave me a story, and you hear that a lot in music, and I'm sure everybody else has those stories, but to me, it's just something that just made sense to me. And to this day, I could look at a bank financial and within 5 minutes give you about a 50-page dissertation on what that company's doing and things. It's an amazing gift I have, and certainly a God-given gift. My dad told me the rule of 72 back when I was probably 10 years old, and still remember that, and just something that always been interested in finance. Ended up getting my first job at Pioneer Bank and Trust, and just did not know quite honestly what I was getting into. I had applied. 1991 was a tough time in the financial industry. Banks were struggling at the time. Here I was wanting to be a finance major, and they were cutting back, and banks failing, and end up getting a job as stated on my bio as a night processor, and basically just worked evenings and did whatever I could take. Going back to my work ethic in college, I didn't care that I was making $5 an hour, I think, at the time. I wanted the job in the bank, and didn't care that the dress code, even though I was working for the bank, said flexible. That I was low on the totem pole when that happened. However, the bank was awesome bank. What I didn't realize is my CEO was well connected, not only in the state organization, but a lot of national organizations. Within a year, got a job as a credit analyst, and then was able to, we opened markets in Wichita, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa. And within a few years, I was overseeing the Wichita market at the time, back in the late 90s. Also working with firms back then in Oklahoma. Most of us know what Bricktown is today, but I was making loans back in Oklahoma City, what was known as the MAPS project way back then, and a lot of firms were putting together MAPS project, and we had offices in Oklahoma helping. Just a lot of neat stuff that I never knew that I would even have an opportunity to do. The second biggest thing that really happened to me was in 1995. I was an old 26 years old, and been at the bank for a few years at that time. And going back to my time at Southwestern, what I felt I missed out on, had an opportunity I wanted to give back, so had an opportunity to get involved with United Way. And what was interesting about the United Way in the town, usually the drive chairmen were, the elder statesmen of the communities, the people that had been around for 40 years. But in this situation, the United Way was dropping. They had raised $750,000, and it got down to $650, and then about $550, and everybody else had something to lose. They didn't want to be part of that. And here I was, a young guy trying to set a mark, and I had everything to win and nothing to lose because I was a young guy, 26 years old. So I ended up agreeing to be a drive chairman. My way of trying to give back and getting involved, I'd never really had the opportunity to do in college. So what I didn't realize at the time, my CEO of my bank was putting together his own plan to really do something different than what the United Way was doing in our community, because you had 17 organizations, the Child Development Center, Domestic Violence, Golden Villa, Northern Oklahoma Youth Services, all those organizations were reliant on that funding, and their funding was going down by, a couple $100,000 over a few years. And so here I was, at the time, wasn't even an AVP, I was just Eric Kurtz, loan officer. And, I was taking over the drive chair of the United Way just to try to give back and turn the deal around. So he ended up, and I didn't realize this till later, he stopped his plans to really build his own group because he was going to fund it himself, that, he just hated to see that in the community and had an opportunity to do that. So he stopped and waited to see what I can do. And I remember what I did was brought every drive chair back since the 50s, the ones who were still around, and had a lunch. So here I am, a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, paid for the meal, brought everybody back and said, hey, we need to get this thing turned around. And that year, I think we ended up raising about 80 to 100,000 more and set a course over the next, 4 to 5 years, where a lot of these organizations could end up making a change and really funding their operations. And I know it's not in banking, and it's not directly tied to Southwestern, but it is, because in our situation, I didn't have really the opportunity to give back to the college when I was here. I was just trying to work, make straight A's the best I could, not miss class, those sorts of things. And 5 of the drive chairs were actually on our board at the bank. And so those 5 drive chairs, saw what I was doing. They were involved in the meeting that I was leading. And I remember after that, on board days at the bank, everybody always kind of dresses a little nicer. It still happens in our bank today. I'm dressed and have the tie on that day. And I remember the secretary of the board coming down, and she was our CEO secretary, and she looked at me. She goes, I'm going to be watching you, Mr. Eric. And, I was so young, she didn't want to call me Mr. Kurtz at the time. And she goes, something I still remember today, she goes, you're going to be a CEO someday. And certainly something that I still remember today, and kind of a mark for me. So that really started off, in 1997. I ended up going to the Graduate School of Banking at University of Wisconsin. Ended up being there's about 200 attendees, one of the premier schools in the nation for banking schools. And into the first year, I was a number 2 graduate at the end of that, and a CEO saw that. So he started really challenging me, much like the professors did at Southwestern, to really do bigger and better things. So within a few years, again, I was overseeing the Wichita market. In 2001, I was opening branches. 2007, ended up moving over to the corporate headquarters of our bank at the time, well above $1 billion. And working on complex deals at that time and up and through that time, I've made loans to NFL football players, team owners of NFL teams, billionaire families, complex multi-million-dollar deals, ultra high net worth families funding leveraged life insurance premiums with borrowings in Japan, trying to secure that with international letters of credit, those sorts of things, very complex deals. But really what I was missing is much like Southwestern, kind of that intimate feel, back in community banking, and being able to bring that expertise back, much like, we see at Southwestern. So had an opportunity at that time to really come back in 2009, come back into community banking and take over the leadership role at Union State, based right here in Winfield, Ark City, Cali County. And since that time, doing things I've never, experienced and new stuff for me, such as leading acquisition teams into purchasing other banks, moving into a lot of markets, and really increasing the health of the organization. So again, I've had a great career. I can tell you it started right here. So many things that I've done, relate back to what happened to me at Southwestern, indirectly and directly. So I'm certainly honored. Certainly want to congratulate my fellow honorees today, Dennis and Brian, some of their accomplishments that they've been able to do as well. And honored to receive this award, and certainly humbled by the acknowledgement of my career and things that happened to me. I want to thank you, and we'll forever cherish this day at Southwestern College. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Eric, and congratulations. Our next inductee, Brian Pettey, class of '96, is CEO of Robot Zone LLC, a business he founded in the Reed Residence Hall room during his senior year at Southwestern. Located in Winfield, Kansas, the initial focus of Robot Zone was designing and manufacturing robots and robotic components for educational purposes. In 2002, Robot Zone began developing more advanced products that were suited for more diverse markets. Robot Zone has assisted companies with NASA missions, had robots displayed at the Kennedy Space Center, and constructed robots to help kids learn in thousands of classrooms worldwide. Pettey has also assisted in the development of robots used to protect soldiers in war zones, as well as in television programs and movies. Currently, Robot Zone is designing a modular robotic construction system. Pettey has invented numerous products and holds more than 30 patents. Brian, President Andrews, please come forward.
Wow, this is quite an honor, and thank you very much for inviting me here to talk. And once again, I'm pretty shocked. You know, when Kristen, or when I heard that I was being inducted into the Business Hall of Fame, I turned to Kristen and I said, you know, that's pretty strange. You know, that's pretty odd. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, I didn't think I was old enough. And she said, Brian, trust me, you're old enough. You know, so get over that real quick. And of course, my picture is black and white, and you know, I did have a lot more hair back then, so I'm certainly old enough. So when I think about the past, you know, I have fantastic memories of Southwestern. You know, the relationships that I acquired, the friendships, you know, many of which I still have today. I can also truly say that Southwestern was literally a launching pad for my business. I know these windows are a little high, but you could actually probably see from here, you know, where the dorm room I actually started Robot Zone. Building robots late into the night, you know, setting off the smoke alarms while I'm soldering wires in my dorm room. You know, I wasn't very popular around the dorms, especially in the wintertime, the dead of winter, when everybody had to get up out of bed at 2 in the morning and stand outside because I set off the alarms once again. Now, building robots till late at night and getting up at 8 a.m. for business classes, the two just didn't get along very well. And that did not go unnoticed by Dick Barnes and Lyle Weinert. Two of my professors that I had. Now, Mr. Barnes was, Dick Barnes, who's in the back here, he was also my advisor, and after a lengthy chat, and he somehow kind of took a liking to me. And very soon after that, I was actually getting credit hours toward my business degree for actually running my business from a dorm room here at Southwestern, so I thank you very much for that. I like to also look back a little bit at Southwestern, and I think hopefully it's paid off for the credit hours and the time and effort Southwestern has put into me, especially for the alumni. Over the years I've hired over 10 Southwestern graduates, many of which still work for me today. And I certainly give, you know, Southwestern a lot of credit for giving me the tools and especially the freedom to become an entrepreneur, but that's not all. Excuse me, I'm trying not to get emotional, but you know, I met my wife here at Southwestern on the tennis court. And now, we didn't date, excuse me, I didn't think I'd get emotional, but you know, we didn't date during college, although I wish we would have. We dated after college, and of course, that just so happened to be the year after I graduated, Southwestern decided to put internet connection in all the dorm rooms. And of course, you know, I graduated and I had started my business, and I don't really remember where I was living, but I did not have fast internet connection, and so that was a great excuse because I would go over to her dorm room. And, you know, at that time, it dates me a little bit, but, you know, there wasn't a lot of information about robots online at, you know, early 90s or late 90s, you know, and I had found it all in about 3 to 4 hours. But I didn't tell her that. You know, I had to come back night after night and borrow the internet, the fast internet connection in Reed dorm room over there. So, but I never told her that. And so it certainly worked out quite well for me. I don't know about her, but certainly for me. So, but as you can see, you know, Southwestern played a huge part of my life. The professors that I had, Troy Boucher, learned a tremendous amount from him, made me more of an intellectual. than I did coming in, which, trust me, I needed that. But I've had a fantastic career that I hope continues. And once again, it's been a tremendous honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian, and congratulations. And now, the Business Builder Award for 2017. The Business Builder Award was created for the purpose of recognizing and honoring business leaders, not necessarily alumni, who have created jobs, supported community institutions, and through their hard work and civic contributions have made a lasting impression on their community. Southwestern is proud to acknowledge persons who have dedicated their careers to strengthen business, and this year's Business Builder has certainly fulfilled that role. The 2017 recipient of the Business Builder Award is Kline Motors Incorporated. Kline Motors was established in 1963 by Don and Virginia Kline as a family-owned business and has served Winfield and the Kline County area for more than half a century. Its mission stresses the company's commitment to the community. Through the commitment, pride, and leadership of all employees, we are dedicated to continuous improvement and growth in every aspect of our business and our community. Pat Biddle started his career in 1975 in the service and parts departments and continued the tradition of supporting the community that included Southwestern College as he assumed leadership of the company. Kline Motors is now a third-generation business, with Pat's son Jeremy set to take ownership of the business. Following in the family footsteps, Jeremy's son, Wyatt, 14, works summers in the dealership. Accepting this award on behalf of Kline Motors is Pat Biddle. Pat, President Andrews, could you please come forward?
They always say that car salesmen have a gift of gab, but I don't think I'm going to follow any of the last three. So first of all, I'd just like to say thank you. It's an honor to receive this award. There's many, many times in our community and businesses that do much for their communities don't always get recognized. So thank you very much for the award. Just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Winfield on a family farm 2 miles north of town with 10 other brothers and sisters. My mother and father still live on that farm today, 91 years of age. So I was graduated from Winfield High School. I married my high school sweetheart of 43 years, Christy. I didn't follow in my father's footsteps. We had 2 children. Joshua, who's working for NATO in Stavanger, Norway, and my son Jeremy, who will be the next predecessor of our business. When I started in '75, I quickly realized that there was a strong connection between Southwestern College and the community and Kline Motors. I became acquainted with Dr. Stroll, Dr. Ruthenberg, and for those that don't know, Dr. Ruthenberg had one of the first 64.5 Mustang convertibles. So I got really acquainted with him quick because I was taking care of his car at that time. But I also realized that my predecessor, Mr. Kline, also had a strong relationship in the community, and that the community needed Kline Motors, and that Kline Motors needed the community. And those things all worked hand in hand. So I wanted to continue that. When Christy and I ended up buying the business in '92, we just made sure that our connection with the college and the connection with the college and myself was strong. I employed a lot of students over the years, a lot of the football players, so I got to know a lot of different students at the college. So again, I just want to thank you, and I can assure you that we're going to continue this relationship into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat, and congratulations. Thank you for coming to this celebration of business at Southwestern College. We look forward to having this rich tradition of mound builder excellence continue. If you know any outstanding Southwestern alumni who should be considered for one of our halls of fame, we hope you will fill out the form in your program booklet and let us know. Meanwhile, plan to stay for the other events this afternoon. From 2 to 3:30, we will have a docent-guided tours of the Arthur S. Covey collection of art titled The Spirit of Kansas, found in 4 locations across campus, including here in the library. At 3:30, meet back here for the Educators Hall of Fame as we celebrate other worthy builders in their fields. Tonight, I hope you will come back for the performance of Gifts from the Isles presented by the Southwestern College a cappella choir and the SCCU at 8 p.m. in Richardson Performing Arts Center. Tickets are still available. Thank you for joining us today in celebrating the 2017 class of the Business Hall of Fame. And I was chatting earlier here with Charles McKenzie, who put this event together, and several others that are taking place over, well, yesterday and today. And in my eyes, he's godlike. So thank you so much, Charles. Thank you.